Again.
Hey, nerds!
What do you guys want to talk about? Welcome back to another edition, ladies and gentlemen, of Talking Shit. I'm one of your hosts, Brian. With me always is...
I'm Mark.
Mark's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. We're having all kinds of problems. It never ceases to amaze me that we can go through and have this many issues with our streaming channel services. So we are not live anywhere right now, are we? Just YouTube. That's crazy. Now you got to bring us back up on Facebook, and there you go.
I'm trying that now.
There we go.
Well,
there we
ladies
go.
and gentlemen, we're back up on Facebook, and I don't understand why it's doing that. Every few weeks, it's been giving us shit.
Yep, time to make a phone call.
Yeah, I know it's talking shit and all, but come on, it's not give us shit.
Oh, that's the new gambit there. It's giveusshit.com. This is where you can donate money to me. My name is Brian. And
oh wow, guess what?
We fixed it.
We fixed it, and he shows up. Wow.
All right. Mark, you want to tell everybody who we got in the green room?
Well, he's actually, I'll just say his name, and then you can tell everybody what he does. Okay?
Oh, you can't say the word.
What, hypnotist? I can say it. Freddie Justice. He's a comedian hypnotist, actually. I was on his website last week just looking up stuff just to see what he was like, and he's got some interesting stuff on that website. So you want to bring him in?
Let's bring him in.
Hey guys.
How are you, sir?
Good, good. How's my volume?
Oh, good.
Perfect.
You know, it took Brian a while to be able to convince me to get you on the show.
Wait, were you scared I was going to hypnotize you, Mark, or what?
No,
Mark's
that
scared.
that wasn't it. I had to look up some of your stuff, and then Brian was like, "Man, as soon as you do, you're going to say okay." And then trying to, do the scheduling with you was a little bit harder too.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's not a problem. Especially once you find our stuff in the junk or the spam mail. I go through
at least he's here now.
Yes.
Yeah. I could have gone to the bar and drinking, but I told my wife I had a date with you two. So
you can break out a beer if you want. We don't.
Oh, I've got my White Claw. Oh, I forgot my light. And before Mark says anything, as soon as you say it, then I just whip out the bourbon.
Okay.
It wasn't going to be him. It was going to be me. I'm not a White Claw fan. Hey, look,
Yeah,
I'm gonna sit here and drink my pineapple juice.
Yeah, what's in it?
Pineapple juice, dude. It's 100% concentrate.
Yeah, I'll finish off my Dr. Pepper. That's all.
So we'd like to start the show out. I don't know if you've caught any of our previous shows or anything, but we do always want to find out how you're doing first. So how are you doing today?
You know, it's a beautiful day here in Minnesota. No snow. I got to mow for my final time last night. I got some work done today. It was a good day.
Minnesota, I heard it's really cold right now in Minnesota.
Hey, it feels good up there.
It's actually really nice right now.
It is.
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay. So maybe it's a different. What's the closest place to Canada? Because I heard it's like 42 degrees or something, or
War Road or Roseau or Ely or Duluth, Bemidji, anything an hour north and more, they're cold.
Way cold.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. One of our drivers for Polaris, which is produced out there in Minnesota, came and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not ready to go back home right now." I said, "Why is that?" And he was like, "It's like 42 degrees." He was enjoying the Florida weather, so I was like, "Hey, no problem."
Yeah, it's
So,
a little colder than Florida, that's for sure.
it was pretty nasty here today. It rained all day, and it just got colder. So looking forward to that cold snap coming. Mark doesn't care because he's from Michigan, so he's like, "Yep, ready for it."
Yeah, see, he knows. I was just in Michigan 2 days ago.
I was just in Michigan last week. I was visiting family.
I mean, I was in Detroit.
I
Some
was
people
around
say
Detroit.
that's exciting. Some people say it's not. I don't know.
I like Detroit.
Well, you're from there. I'm from Minnesota. You know, right now we're enemies in the NFL world. So
yes, and I can't wait. And I can't wait to see what. Actually, quite honestly, I can't wait to see what Dobbs does for you guys.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, we have no choice but to be excited.
I was more excited to see him on your team than I was Cousins. I am not a fan of Cousins. I think they paid too much for him right now.
I agree. He's taken a lot of pay cuts, so he worked his way back into my heart. So, I mean, we haven't had a ton of wins under him. That's the problem. No. I keep tagging him in posts, and he doesn't read any posts because I tag him on comments. And I'm like, hey, just meet with Freddie Justice. Let me hypnotize this hesitation out of you, and we could fix the one final problem. But he never calls me.
Man, that would be something else, dude. That was actually one of my questions for you was going to be, have you ever found anybody to hypnotize famous? Do they let you,
nobody famous. The most famous, I guess, is they're not even famous, but I did a few years of the Minnesota Gophers on the recruiting event. So I'd have some big old boys on there hypnotizing. We're having a good time. But that's about
I saw one of those videos.
Yeah, I thought I was going to break my leg, by the way. I literally thought when he leaned against me, I thought he was going to break my leg.
That didn't help him play any better, though.
I don't even know. I don't know if Jamal played or not. I mean, they've had a great season up until this year, but see, they stopped hiring me as the hypnotist last year. You notice what happened?
Oh,
PJ Fleck, call me. We got to work this out.
So nobody famous, but you do have some feelers out there. You want to get Kirk Cousins in front of you, so
just so he can move out of the pocket.
So
think about things.
Here's my thing: with hypnotism, is everybody susceptible? Then is that the word? Susceptible.
So the answer is yes and no.
Okay.
The basic breakdown is anybody is hypnotizable. Anybody. Now, within reason. If you have a lower IQ, you're going to struggle. If I want to be respectful how I say this, if you have certain learning or special needs disabilities, Down syndrome, I don't know if I've ever been able to hypnotize somebody. In the high schools they have them, so I'll let them get on my stage. I'm not going to disrespect them. I know they're not going to stay. It's the most adorable thing I've ever seen. My light just fell. It's the most adorable thing I've ever seen when I see them go like this. As soon as I see them, and I leave them up there for a while because I want them to experience a good time. But autistic, now generally I've gotten them under, but their brains fire at a rate so much faster than ours that eventually they tend to pull out. But I've had some success with that. But low IQs, people that are just slower, I mean that in the nicest way. Right. Autistic a little bit, and then Down syndrome, real big struggle. But otherwise, everybody else, you guys do it every day. I mean, if you're driving home after a long day of work and you pull in the driveway and go like this, Jesus, how'd I get here? That's hypnosis. You don't remember the whole ride home. You just got there.
I know how I got there, but yeah.
If you were at the bar first, that does not count. That's something different. Yeah. So no, hypnosis, we all get hypnotized every day. So it's two things. It's the focus concentration. We get you to breathe, relax, visualize, focus on things, and that's when they just start to do the, and then we go to the suggestible side. And now the suggestibility side, everybody's suggestible. If you can learn, you're suggestible. That's where we give them an idea. There's multiple ways to do it. I do it different than a lot. Like when somebody yawns in front of you and you feel like you got to yawn, or even if somebody just says yawn, sometimes you got to yawn.
Right.
That's straight up a suggestion, no hypnosis at all. When you're in a hypnotic state, though, you're highly suggestible. So most people describe it as, you know what? I'm sitting there going, I don't want to do this. I feel like I have to do this. And then they just do it.
Okay.
And I'm not making them. I don't take it personal. Some hypnotists will load the question or load the suggestion They'll reinforce it 3 times. That's the best way to do it. And then you're going to get 1 to 3 outcomes. I'm just nuts. I'll load it lightly, hope it works out. I'll get less people that'll grab it, but I'll get some of the most entertaining people doing it and creating their own vision of what I just suggested. And then my rule is, as long as it's funny, appropriate, and safe, I'll let them keep going until it's not funny, appropriate, or safe.
Cool.
And I usually look at the crowd and go, that's not what I meant. Let's see how this goes.
Brian, when if he ever comes to Florida, he's going to have to hypnotize you because I want to see that.
That's right. Now, where are you guys at in Florida? Where are you at, Brian?
We're in Citrus County, Florida. So
an hour from
very,
Tampa.
very small. Yep, very small town.
Is that near Juno Beach?
Good question.
I don't know where Juno is.
Yeah, that's on the East Coast.
No,
we're on the west.
Yeah, we're on the west.
On the
Coast.
west
That's too bad. I'll be there in a couple of weeks. So
you never know. I might make a trip over to Daytona. I think that's close to Juno. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, it's about 3 hours away. That's actually where I'm staying. I'll be staying. I got a corporate event, and then I'll stay with my mom for a couple of days because she lives out there. So I admit it. I'm a mama's boy. I like to go see my mom.
3 hours, 40 minutes from here.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So we're making the trip, I guess. Is that what we're doing? So you talked about loading suggestions and stuff like that. So I've had friends go to comedy clubs where the person was a hypnosis and hypnotist. Oh my God.
You got it.
Hey,
I'm pulling a mark. I'm pulling a mark over here.
I said it.
So I guess instead of asking people to come up on stage, they would start talking, and then the guy, one of my buddies, his wife just went into he said what appeared to be like some kind of trance, and she just got up and went right to the stage and sat down. He never called anybody up to the stage, but like 10 people, he said, got up out of this from the comedy club area and walked up and sat down on stage. So how does that happen? That's that loaded suggestion.
So it's what's called the pre-talk. So the pre-talk is the moment we start talking before we actually get into hypnosis. Super important. You can do instant hypnosis. I did a big street hypnosis tour that one day I'm going to edit more of those videos and actually put them on YouTube. COVID got in the way and everything else got in the way. But in the pre-talk, you're loading everything up. Everything that we say is important to help pre-frame the mind and get their minds thought about it and start doing it. So chances are he loaded some very targeted words where he actually was hypnotizing while giving the pre-talk is probably what it was. So my wife, although hasn't done that, if we ever go to a hypnosis show, she always goes, don't let me go on stage, because my wife's so hypnotizable. And I laugh and I'm like, well, don't follow the instructions. And then she'll wake up and she's on stage. And probably all those 10 people that you talked about, I would guess that all of them been hypnotized before. If you've been hypnotized, it's so much easier.
I've never been. Back when I smoked cigarettes, that was going to be my other thing. Have you ever helped people with stopping an addiction? An addictive habit?
I'm trained and certified in it, but I focus on entertainment. I also do a lot of corporate team building. So definitely my schedule's full, but it is something that's the most successful way. My mom, maybe 35 years ago, went through that in a big group hypnosis. And generally back in the day, that was just for them to sell CDs and DVDs or cassette tapes, I guess, back then. Maybe 8 tracks. I don't know. It's been a while. That was the goal, was to get people in a big room, charge them a little bit of money, and get them to further with them. Well, my mom went with 3 other people, and 2 out of the 4 have never smoked again, including my mom. So it's very powerful. So somebody's got to want to quit. That really helps too. That's
see, I took a little blue pill that helped me quit, and everybody was like, "Did you get hypnotized?" Not that little blue pill. Stop it.
I was going to say, did we mix these up or?
Yeah. Are you sure that was the right blue pill?
I got to have more fun.
Well, that would be the blue pill. So let's take a step back for a second.
All right.
What made you decide to become a hypnotist?
Oh, that's a
he was born
complicated with it. Story. I was born this way. No, ironically, I don't know if you guys do this, but I used to be a police officer. And so I was injured in line of duty and retired 18 years ago, was lost and bought my neighbor's DJ company and he made it sound like it was his greatest reputation. It was not a great reputation, and it was a long standing since '76 though. So I worked hard and went to a lot of trainings so I could train staff, and I was like, check this hypnosis stuff out. I went and I realized it was in over my head, so I told the guy I'd come back next year. These lights are not going to work, so told the guy I'd be back next year, and came back, and I sat in that room. I just had my gallbladder out, so I was in a lot of pain and on pain pills. And I looked around the room and I was like, I'm going to make money at this. I can tell. And hit the ground running from there.
Really cool.
So was it easy to catch on to?
It's not hard. I mean, hypnosis is easy. To do it safely, to do it appropriately, to do it funny, to be able to recover from ab reactions or see a potential injury. Those are really the talents in there. And being funny is the big talent. Being able to be an entertaining MC and facilitating the flow of the show, as well as getting, and when, you know, you're going to run into people just aren't going to do stuff, and you're in front of 300 other people, you got to make it look good if they're not doing stuff. So that's where you got to fill it a lot.
So I'm going to guess that you probably got that persona basically from being the DJ portion. Is that right? Because I'm sure as a DJ, you're talking to people, you're out on the dance floor, probably like, hey, come on, let me show you how to do this dance or something like that, right?
The MC side, yes, and managing and talking on the mic. I went through a lot of specialized MC trainings when I was a DJ, but that's half of it. The personality side, that's just me. I got that from my dad, and my real name isn't even Freddie. My dad's name was Freddie, so I took his name for the stage name, and but yeah, the other side of it definitely helps you, even on equipment. I have hypnotists ask me all the time about equipment, and I love all you hypnotists, but you always go the cheap direction and don't listen to me. And there's one area I know a lot about is audio and video stuff. So that's okay.
So let's talk about that street hypnotist.
Yeah,
I know you know a few of them. Do you guys ever team up, do shows together or anything like that? Or do you have somebody that you ever partner with that?
Yeah, yes and no. So the street hypnosis is one side of thing, and partnering up. I actually did a street hypnosis tour. Why? Because I was terrified of the idea of instant hypnosis. So I was like, all right, screw it. Flew to visit my mom, set up for a couple camera guys, and we walked around Daytona Beach and figured out how to do it. And then I've been to New York, New Jersey, a couple places in Texas, Portland. I have so much video. I really got to edit. This reminds me, I got to edit it all over the Midwest and all over the country. And I had one hypnotist, Darren Johnson, who did a lot of street hypnosis. He'd wear a shirt that just literally said, "Ask me to hypnotize you." And when we were in Nashville the first time, I was like, all right, show me what you do. And he was nervous because we were filming, and it turns out he would just wait for them to come up to it. He's got all this great video of hypnosis on the street. And so we each were able to build on each other, and we got some great footage of both of us hypnotizing, doing the street hypnosis. As far as on the stage, I've never done it. Our industry is built with a lot of ego. I mean, we can do some pretty powerful things. I thought DJs had a lot of ego until I became a hypnotist. And I saw them one time battling online about who's the best and fastest and hypnotist. And I thought it was the silliest thing. No offense if you guys are watching this, but then they were talking about flying out to have a battle on who's the best hypnotist. And I was like, you know what? And I went on right away to GoDaddy, and I bought duelinghypnotist.com. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Comedy Sports Improv. So I took, imagine whose line is it in any way, but two teams, one red, one blue, a ref in the middle, and they take suggestions. The ref knows how to field the suggestions. So it's a combination of that, and I developed it. I have not done one live yet. I keep trying to sell it. Everybody gets really close. And there I have about 5 different hypnotists that said they would do it with me throughout the country if I booked one. So
that would be awesome to actually see.
Oh, because you got the ref, they can field the questions so they can be appropriate. And
right.
You know, in the end, just like in comedy sports, it doesn't matter who wins as long as the crowd's entertained.
Exactly. I think it's more entertaining to. I've thumbed through and watched. I mean, if you've ever sat on TikTok like as long as me and my wife, you know, and that's how we ended up finding you. And I was just like, I was hooked. I was like, hold on, Hold on, this is funny. I love
Was it
this
the ding
stuff.
dong one?
Where the man, yes, that was probably one of the first ones I saw, and then you constantly make people forget their names.
Yeah.
Wouldn't take much for me.
Become hypnotist and let them hypnotize.
Yeah, I
other
love
people.
that one.
I was like, wow, okay. So
yeah, Brian's probably sitting there looking at his other screen because he's trying to find a video.
I do have that video.
Or he has that
That's
video.
what I was looking at, because I was like, wait a minute, I got to find this video because this one is great. And
Okay,
it's actually what we were just talking about.
So play it.
All right, I'll play this video, and then you'll walk us through how all this transpired, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, probably after, I'm guessing, or what?
Yeah, let's watch the video, and then yeah.
I'll pour my bourbon while we're watching.
Pour your bourbon. Let's see here.
Okay, now I'm on to water.
There we go. You guys ready?
Go ahead.
Yes.
I tend to think he lost his private parts.
My wiener's gone. Well, it just like feels like it's gone.
Your private part is gone.
Yeah, gone.
Down.
Does it hurt?
Fuck yeah, it hurt.
Did you show up with it?
Well, yeah, showed up with it.
Because you know when it's there, right?
Oh, I had it last night and this morning.
Go to the bathroom while you were here?
Yep, it was still there.
Okay.
Who's got it?
Mike's got it.
Who's Mike? There's a lot of Mikes, I bet. This young man?
Yeah.
Well, give it back, guy. I need it for later.
Alice got some plans tonight, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, come on, give it back. Come on, guy, I need it. Got a good bride coming over tonight. Come on, I'm waiting.
He's probably getting mad at him, but you can't go after him.
Well, why can't I go after him? He's got my cock.
Okay. So let's.
That was the first
Let's
one you
talk
sent
about
me.
Yeah.
I targeted that one to get my YouTube or TikTok monetized, and of course they changed the rules, so I stopped. And I got to and I was so mad that they changed the TikTok rules, because that was my one. That was the boost. And I have one more boost where I've got a guy eating an onion thinking it's an apple. So I'll use that one as my next big boost. I hate onions. That's the irony of this. So no, that guy's name is Alex. I'd never met him before. He's got a unique tone in his voice. He sounds older than he is. And he just happened to be the guy I picked. It's all random. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works a little bit. So, and that guy just took it. And those laughs are not generic. I was doing everything I could to keep my composure up there, because every response he had, I was dying.
And he is so into it that he doesn't even know that it's that funny, right? Until he watches this video.
Oh, yeah. He's not even laughing.
No, absolutely. He's being very serious. He's like, God, I'm gonna need that for later.
Now, I did not make that up. The first time I was ever hypnotized is when I went to training, and the guy did that to me. And I apparently sat on that stage staring at the guy in the front row, and apparently he's like, dude, I thought you were going to jump out of there and kill me, because I was pretty upset that he took my private parts. So that was a great one. And a lot of people post on there. My son, who was helping me kind of get things understood on there, he's like, oh, you got to respond to these people calling it fake. And I was like, buddy, I don't care. It's real. I know it's real. If they want to post and share it and say it's fake, it only helps me, so I'm good with it.
Very true.
The people in the background, when you're focused in on your, what was his name again? What's his name?
Oh, on Alex, that particular. I know his name is Alex because I have friends that knew him and they talk about it all the time.
Okay. So when you're focused in on Alex and you got Alex walking through, are the other people behind that are they look like they're sleeping? Can they still hear everything that's going on?
They can hear, and they'll be at different stages. My hope is they're just out and are ignoring it. You might see some of them chuckle. You might see someone pop up and watch. I don't worry. Like, some people think it's amazing. People will look at that video or another video, and I don't remember if that's the one where they'll say, you got a guy like Alex doing something amazing. And they're like, see, told you hypnosis was fake. Look at the third guy from the left. Totally laughing. It's fake. I don't care about the third guy from the left. If I got somebody like Alex on my stage, I can run the entire show with Alex and not care about anybody else. I hope to get others, but Alex was like my rock star on that one.
Yep, he was fantastic.
And that's the worst you can do, because insurance companies are hardcore these days about anything sexual. So that's like the worst I will do. That's also an adult comedy club for that one. I would never do that routine like in a school or a college or anything like that. But yeah, that one, I even hesitated. I was like, oh, I got to apply for my renew of insurance. Are they going to flag me for this? But they didn't. So
let me ask you about that. Your insurance, what does that cover? Does it cover people that get hit? Oh my God, Brian. It's not
hypnotized.
That's the word.
You can use the word in a trance. If you can't say it, just say in a trance.
In a trance. There you go.
Yeah. I never know. You know, that's for the insurance company to say. Mostly it's just really for injuries on stage, fall off. Okay. When I was, I shouldn't admit this, but like my second year, I had my best friend who's a photographer riding along with me, and I had an assistant. And this kid was amazing. And all of a sudden he starts launching and running. And I'm like, freeze, 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 stop. And he launched off this 4-foot stage. And I did everything I could to stop it. Went down there. Again, I was a police officer. I was trained and certified as an EMT. So I went and checked on him, knew everything's okay. Kept him on my stage just to make sure I can monitor him. And ironically, I didn't want him to do anything else. And he still did stuff. After the show, I double checked on him and he was fine. And then the principal walks up and I'm like, so sorry. And they're like, yeah, I just want to know what you're going to do to prevent that next time. And I said, I already have an answer. I'm going to make sure there are raised stages. I always have to have parent volunteers up front that they can jump up and wave. Pretty easy fix. But things like that really are what, you know, you're really going to make sure you're covered for. I mean, there's not a lot of damage you can do. Yeah, you can't get stuck in a hypnotic trance. It's impossible.
Okay.
I know in Florida you had a case about that, and that was BS.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you hear about that?
Yeah, made me mad.
Stuck in a hit.
That kid, my opinion only, you know, but that kid, here's what happens. These kids get in this crazy whirl, and then they'll act it up a little bit afterwards. And then you have to shut it down. Like, you have to shut it down hard. And then usually I just whisper in the ear and I go, hey, I don't know why I'm looking at Mark, but I look at Mark. Hey, Mark, you and I both, I whisper it. You and I both know you're faking right now because you can't be hypnotized. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to pretend you came out of it on your own. Other than that, we're going to have to call 911. You're going to go to the hospital. You're going to pay a very large hospital bill that I'm not going to pay. You know why? Because you're not hypnotized anymore. I released you. And that usually gets them out. But if you don't do that, and then when a parent gets involved, and then they got the news involved, my opinion is that that's all constant suggestion. You trap that kid so he could never get out of saying, okay, I'm not really stuck in hypnosis. That was a bunch of malarkey.
Now, before you say anything else, Brian,
sorry,
Brian, when a few weeks ago I sent you a message, I asked you if you could hypnotize somebody on the computer, and you explained to me, well, you told me you don't want to do that because it's not safe to do it that
Correct.
way. Now, can you explain more? I mean, what do you mean by that?
Well, you're sitting there, you or Brian, you know, you fall over during your hypnotic state. You flip backwards and hit your head on the stage, and then one of the Jason dolls kills you, or you hit your head on camp. I can't see that because of the mic, whatever that sign is, or the metal thing, or I have my camera right in the middle here, so I got to look around it. Or Brian's hypnotized and falls through that curtain and something on the other side. There's so many things that can happen. There are I've seen some hypnotists that have been doing it. To each their own. I don't watch it. I don't want to know because I'm not going to be part of that. Hypnotherapists do it. How it works, I don't know. I struggle with it, but I'm not going to judge them either. So it's just, you got to be safe. I mean, we really don't want people injured on any type. And I go back to the DJ days too. And I work team building all over the country, and safety is like so important because, well, everybody wants to sue and we just don't want people injured.
That's true.
But the biggest part is like if you were to go on and look, you could just literally go, kid hypnotized and fell through wall. And what it is people go after the show. So I always say, as I'm doing the induction, as people are trying to film it, I go, let's turn those off. I don't want you at home trying this tomorrow night with your friends and somebody's head goes through a wall and you get called 911 because you tried to do what I did. And I've actually seen videos of that. They're out there.
Oh, I believe that.
So that's what I mean. I'm not scared of it. It's just not an area I want to dabble with at all.
See,
Oh,
when
that's
we were younger, we actually took books, or we checked books out of the library on hypnotists, hypnosis and stuff like that. Because, well, we had a friend that we didn't like his girlfriend, so we were going to play a song and have that in the background, and
we were doing. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it didn't work.
We
but,
were trying to just do suggestion just to make it all go away. We were like, okay, bud, here's the thing.
Yeah,
without coming out saying
we wanted to break up with the girl by the time it was done, but
it was a lot of fun.
Like Shallow Hal Had a Pal.
yeah.
Listen, we had books on tape, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this for a little bit. And it's like it was just like this lady talking about everything has to be suggested to you, to the person, if you're trying. And I'm like, okay, so how do I do this? You're not explaining that part to me. You're just telling me what I. So I'm like, I don't know. Do we just write it on like a dollar bill or something? Hey, man, here's a buck. You need gas money.
So instead, we decided, okay, well, we're going to do it with music and have us in the background, where you can barely hear us through the music, and see if it would work that way. No, that didn't work neither.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
We
No,
were
I
young
went to
and
training.
dumb, and it's
That's
just
how we
like,
do it.
Yeah. Training.
I mean, people can learn on DVDs and stuff like that, but hands-on training's the best. I went to a guy named Jeff Ronnie who owned the Hypnosis Center at the time, and there's an up in the arms, back and forth in the world of hypnosis about. Some people say he's amazing, some people say he's a hack. Jeff just makes money, and he was a great guy to me. And his inductions were super long and boring. I'm not gonna lie. They worked though. They worked really well. And so as I did that, then I went to a guy named Justin Trance, who has a wild, completely different style. So if you ever saw any of the videos on there where I was just dropping people, or the big 380-pound football player, that's the Justin Trance style things. And then just working with hypnotists throughout conferences. I mean, we just we talk on Facebook, we share videos. And then one year I struggled at a show. So I was like, you know what? I need to figure this out. What happened? So I watched the videos. I watched every video of every show. And I went and spent a year doing a different variation of induction every single show. And I realized none of it matters. Once you know, none of it matters. Confidence is the biggest thing.
And that was going to be my question to you too. When you first started out, after you graduated your training, and you go and you're performing for the very first time, are you nervous? Does everything go the way that it was planned out for you in your head? Exactly.
No.
So how did you adapt and overcome with that?
I had a birthday party that hired me. Didn't get much money for it. Didn't care, And then they had kids there, and they promised the kids would be assigned to another room. Okay, because at that time I need silence. Now, if it can give me a couple minutes of quiet, that'll really help. But I prefer it. But whatever. And these kids were running around screaming during the induction. And by the time I was done, I had 3 that were out. One was completely out. One was half out. And the other one, I had no clue. It was the birthday boy, I think his wife who hired me, and then her cousin. His wife wasn't really out. And all I remember is that the guy was so funny. It felt good. It was a horrible show for me. The crowd loved it. The wife was mad afterwards because she wasn't hypnotized. And I was like, listen, you got a $300 show. Settle down. You kept the kids in the room. You breached our contract. I'm not giving you any money back. But I remember when the guy, I sent him to do something, and he was supposed to run around the room, and he shot out in the hallway. So I had an assistant. So I had my assistant go follow him. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm actually a hypnotist now. I remember so excited. Came home and I was like, that show sucked, honey, but man, I'm a hypnotist now. And now I'm like, whatever.
Who inspires you?
In the world of hypnosis?
And just in general.
Oh,
I know it's a loaded question, but
I get inspiration from a lot of areas. So I do a lot of public speaking. I told you I was a retired officer. I'm a retired officer who was in a shooting, and I've dealt with years of PTSD. So there's people that I get inspiration from that world. Just graduated for the second time from Dave Albin's Firewalk Academy as an instructor or facilitator. And there's certain things about him that inspire me. There's people that I work with that inspire me from my law enforcement world. There's some guys that really inspire me from the hypnosis world. Okay, guys and gals, we're really, really too egotistical. But there are guys and gals in there anyway that have certain aspects that inspire me. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to tweak his ego. But there's one hypnotist who just is just wordy and beats down everybody. But you know what? His information is correct. And he and I get along great. And I won't go to his training because I don't want to listen to that for 3 or 4 days. But I get inspiration from him. So I try to take inspiration from every corner of my world that I can. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true.
Okay. I've seen a few different, hypnotists, magicians. They add their together like Chris Angel.
Yeah.
Now, do you think his stuff is real, or do you think it's
I didn't
Chris
know he
Angel?
did hypnosis.
Yes, he does.
He
He's
does
really good.
do a form of hypnosis. Yes,
Yeah.
he includes it in his stuff.
It's
Is it real?
interesting.
Not really. I mean, because he's still doing illusions.
Correct.
Right. And some of his
Illusion,
illusions are
but
awesome.
I want to make sure people understand that is an amazing art. I just had a school that booked me, and then they're like, "Well, can we hire you to add?" And I know what they were getting at. Illusionist or magic or something like that. I was like, no, those are two different arts. I don't, no offense to the hypnotists that like to do both. I believe that they deserve each their own focus because hypnosis really is a very good art. But man, some of those illusionists, I sit there at a college convention every year at their as we sell services, and I'm always hanging out with a couple of magician buddies of mine. I'm like, hey, how do they do that? Hey, no, seriously, how do they do it? And then I get the answer out of them when we're drinking together later, but they never tell me until I get them drunk.
Well, they're
Some big
probably
code.
asking you the same question though. Like, how do you hypnotize? How did you hypnotize?
Well,
that
see,
person?
the art of hypnosis, there's no trickery. I just need to build a connection with you, get you to focus and concentrate, break you past any distractions, and usually I can get you down to an aspect. On the stage, we have to do it so fast that I don't care if I lose them. I haven't had a bad low show in a long time. I had one 4 years ago, and it was 3 preteens, and the fair was hot that weekend. They had nobody at the fair. It's not my fault. I had one corporate show where it came down to 4 people and only one did something. Her mom yelled at me afterwards that I was picking on her. And I was like, look at how good she feels. She feels great.
I remember the first time that you told me that we needed a hypnotist. It was because you sent me something from the fair. And you said, hey, look, we need to get a hypnotist. And then I think it was a week later, not even a week later, that's when you found him. And I was like, okay, are you sure? I said, are you sure? Because we just had a psychic on at that time.
Okay.
And Artie was,
that still creeps me out a little bit because I'm like, what the hell?
Yes.
Like right at the very end, man, he just came and just I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, it was
Mark
really
calls
good.
me the next day. Mark calls me the next day. And he's like, yeah, I know exactly what he was talking about. I was like,
well,
what?
the kid, especially the kid, when he was talking about the middle name, that was one thing because that would have been Zachary's twin, which most people didn't know about. I
totally didn't know. Thought we were friends.
Yeah, well, you were gone in the knee. I think at the time that we found out that Karen lost the baby and stuff, I think you were out at sea, so we didn't keep in touch at that point in time.
Yes, it's possible.
But yeah, it's interesting on he took a class to become a psychic too, and I'm like, I didn't know that there was classes for this shit. I'm like, oh wow.
I got that class on DVD just to understand it. Then I was like, yeah, this is out of my scope.
Out of your realm. So here's the thing.
I know my lane. I stick within my lane. I try a lot of things. I stick within my lane. I actually, DJ site's closed, photo booth was closed. I can thank Governor Walz for that one and all of his executive orders. The way they routed them, entertainers couldn't get any work at all. Not because they controlled us, they controlled the venues, and they would take away their liquor licenses. So we literally couldn't work at all. And so then I just decided to close it.
You should have just called Florida, and they would have let you in.
No kidding, right? I still did some team building. We survived. I have a partnership with another company on the team building side, so they usually book most of the team building. And we did a lot of virtual programs. A lot. I mean, I'm set up in my studio here, which is my editing studio. I have actually another desk, but I didn't feel like cleaning it up for you guys, so I just went and bought a new camera and went in my editing studio instead.
Must be nice. I have one camera and one computer, and that's it. It's not even my computer. Got this thing on sale at Rent-A-Center. It's like $99.
Rent-A-Center.
Hey, my daughter got a brand new computer. She bought it herself. Her friend built it for her, so she gave me hers. I'm like, okay. Otherwise, I was running off a laptop.
This one's a powerful one. It's for editing videos. So my neighbor happens to be a computer whiz, so we built it together, and probably saved a couple thousand.
Damn. I'm not that guy. I am not that guy. I'm not trying to build a computer.
It's so much easier than you think.
So in my everyday job, I work in sales, and from the minute I shake someone's hand, I feel like I am building a rapport with that person. And they're buying toys. They're not buying a car. They're not buying they're buying a side-by-side, a four-wheeler, a watercraft. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Does the way I speak to someone and start to get to know them, do you feel like that's part of how you start hypnosis? Like,
oh, absolutely.
You talked about how you build that rapport right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, I walk even nowadays when I'm walking and talking on the stage, I now walk back and forth. And the reason I walk back and forth is just I'm trying to break their connection with the audience, because they're always looking and giggling at their friends or family or other coworkers they hate because they convince them to get up there. So I just walk back and forth, and I can see them, and then usually I can motion to somebody that they need to look at me, and just use that as the building. And I have a new thing I've been doing the last couple of years. I will tell them this year. I'm changing it again because I can realize I'm telling them too much and it drags on too much. But I just tell them any and everything that's happening. I tell the audience what's happening. I don't care. There's no secrets. I just decided the days of the secret slow watch swinging, which works, it's just not entertaining. In the world of short TikTok videos, we've got, they're retraining us to do a minute-long video, so we'll see how that goes. But it's just, building that connection, building that rapport. When I shake a lot of hands, there's a point I know everything by touch. I touch them back here. If you ever see the videos, you see me touch them on their head, shaking their arm. I can just feel everything. As a cop, I was a drug recognition expert, a DRE. Hardest training I think a cop can go through. And you have to know every tiny little thing about that person under the influence to be an expert. And it helped me as a hypnotist so big time, because I just see everything when I'm doing it. So my view of range is so big that it helps a lot. And again, if it doesn't work, I don't care. I'll hold them up there longer than most hypnotists will. If it's not working well, I don't kick them off right away, because there's nothing cooler than at the very end of the show, somebody who you're not sure is out starts doing the big final group routine with everybody else. And then I'm pointing them out to the audience, have a little celebration dance, and I win. Otherwise,
this is probably going to have to be a course that I'm going to have to take, I think.
Ryan, you still haven't convinced me to buy a toy yet.
Mark, you're broke. You're not using my wallet.
There are NLP courses that are still similar to hypnosis and that thing. That's really a lot of your world is neuro-linguistic. I screwed it up. Neuro-linguistic programming. I was trained in it. I don't remember the exact verbiage because I'm just an entertainer and that's what I like. But that's kind of in that same realm of what words you say and how you say them is important.
Okay. Yeah, because it's
shy of brainwashing.
I focus on what they've told me, and then I just reiterate, this is what you said, and then we go from there.
I mean, they're already there because they're really excited to buy that toy.
Not everybody. People show
now,
up.
Do you have one that's in a horror movie theme? Because I feel like then Mark would buy
it. that's what it's going to take.
It's not me. The reason why we don't buy anything is the fact that I blame it on the government.
Interest rates are really high right now, so not everybody's buying, a $25,000 toy. When we start talking about these things, somebody calls me, hey, how much is a four-wheeler? It's like $8,000. $8,000's a lot of money because they used to be 5 and 6, you know.
Yeah. Well,
But
everything
after you
went
get
up.
done
I mean,
paying for the, yeah, absolutely. But
I mean, I bought a pinball machine over COVID, and boy, that got jumped up. But I want
really?
a pinball machine. Yeah, I don't have it, but I'm going to eventually own. I'm looking at Elvira on Mark's shelf back there, and I'm eventually going to own an Elvira pinball machine. It's going to happen eventually.
Is that one of your pastimes? You'd like to play the pinball machines?
I love it. We've got a bowling alley sports bar nearby me that way too close, and they have the largest private collection, I think, in the country, for sure in the Midwest. So
Of
yeah, I go there and play pinball all the time.
pinball machines.
Hell, anytime I go by a place that has arcades and stuff, I'm always in there. My wife's like, okay, let's go in there, see what happens. And I find some of these older ones, and I'm like, yeah, play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something like that. It's like
I go farther back, Mark. I bought a Donkey Kong machine. I got intoxicated talking to the owner one day, and he sold the Monopoly pinball machine, and I was like, hey, Donnie, seriously, I wanted that. I wanted that. If you ever think about getting rid of that Donkey Kong machine, and it was quite a few in, and he's like, so he throws out a number. I was like, oh, all right, you're right on the line. Let me go talk to my wife. And then when I said the next day, I think he said 1,800. So the next day I said, Donnie, I could try to lowball you at 15. We could meet in the middle. Oh no, he said 2,000. I said, we can meet in the middle at 1,800. And he said yes too fast. So I know I screwed up. Yeah, but it's in my garage. It has 36 games on it.
Trust me, if I would love to have something like that, or even asteroids, or stuff like that. Atari had them back then.
Yeah, Pac-Man, Junior Pac-Man, Super Pac-Man, all 3 Donkey Kongs.
Those are the never-ending games.
Right. Dig Dug 2.
There's never an end to those games. That's the whole thing.
But
you guys will like this. My youngest is going to graduate. He's just sophomore now. So in 2 years? Yeah. Yep. And so I have a plan for his party since everybody showed up big for the last 2 kids' graduation. So I wanted on the last one, I'm going to have a competition. So they're going to have to beat the old man's high scores.
On the
or
games.
In the pinball, I have them have a tournament. And then once they get to a certain point, then they have to beat me. And then they'll get half the pot for that machine. And then the other half will go to my son.
Nice.
Unless I win, then my son gets the whole pot.
You're going to win.
You know what? I'm going to not drink until after the tournament. That's the goal.
Now, you're not allowed to hypnotize these kids, though.
I won't cheat. I won't cheat. I know how to dance with the pinball machine, so that's the big thing. So, and I've gotten really good at Dig Dug 2 and Mr. Do, Donkey Kong. Usually I do. These kids you're going to be, hey, listen, I'll be 54 by then. I grew up on these machines.
Now these kids are playing Call of Duty, and I try to play.
That's what you play, and you suck at it.
I get like 3 kills, and I'm like, yes, I did it.
I would be up for hours, pissed off at these young kids talking smack to me and killing me the whole time. So
the whole time,
that's part of the motivation to bring it old school.
See, Brian wants me to spend $70 on a game that I'll probably never really play.
No, you will, because you'll get so mad at how much smack a 12-year-old says to you.
Yeah,
that you'll be up till 7 in the morning.
No, no. I played Friday the 13th for first few years that it was out, and I heard enough on that it doesn't bother me anymore. You get this 5-year-old playing as Jason Voorhees, trying to kill me, and all he's calling me is a dumb mother. And I'm like, what the fuck? Your parents are, letting you play this game on top of letting you swear like that. My parents don't even know I'm on the game. Wow.
Oh,
I have when I play Call of Duty, that's the way it was. These kids would be talking smack, and I'd be like, if you only know who you were talking to, in my experience, it would be. But I just shut up. I'm like, I just drink. I had to stop playing that game because I get too drunk at 5 until 5 in the morning. My wife go to work, so she said, maybe you stop playing the game for a while.
So the new one launched, and it has all the old maps. So I don't know if you're playing Modern Warfare 3, but it's all the old maps from the original.
I played it for a while. Same thing. I'm also not that great at it. I'm the kind of guy who wants to sit there and snipe you. I love sniping people.
Those are the ones I call dumb motherfuckers.
I'm playing against 11-year-olds that whooping me, so I have to.
Yeah. The first day it came out, everybody was playing on computer, and you could play if you had an Xbox, but you had to be invited to a game. So all these guys that have computers, their stuff runs so much faster. They have better clarity on their screens and stuff. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
So I looked at the little thing next to their name, and I'm like, oh, all these guys are playing on computer, and all of a sudden this little kid's like, yeah, dumbass. I'm like, whoa, where did this come from?
Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
they get better on it. I mean, I was playing the last Call of Duty, and out of 100 times, I think I might have been killed 100 times, and not get 100 or not even get a kill. So yeah.
So what do you got coming up? I know you do a lot of. Do you still do a lot of TikTok or a lot of Facebook Reel stuff? Or
right now, no.
Okay.
I'm just trying to play catch up. I'm constantly chasing the grind, and when the team building is busy, I got to pay the bills. We all know that. We've got, for that show that you saw, the guy losing his wiener. That one's coming in March. And then ironically, I got hired for another public one fairly close here in Minnesota right after that. I don't do a big tour all over. And then there's one more public one I'm talking with them about, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, we got to negotiate the fees. That's over in Wisconsin. A comedy club fees are not high. They're 1/2 to 1/3 is what they want to offer. So that's why I don't do a lot, but I have so much video, and my son is an aspiring videographer. And he does such a good job. So I had him spend the entire year coming to as many shows as he could. And now I just have to have the time, which is usually over the winter. And now that TikTok has changed their monetization, my son does this urban exploring. You know what that is?
Yeah.
It terrifies me as a father to watch his stuff, so I don't. But he does this urban exploring. So he's really understood all the world of social media. So as much as I thought I knew, he knows how to do this. He's been monetizing, making money on that and YouTube and Facebook. So he's going to help me with the plan. I'll pay him to help me get everything up and running. And then you'll see a lot more. That's part of the reason I kept missing you guys is, I'll be honest, TikTok floods me with so many notifications and so many messages that I'm like, oh my God, these guys want to go on podcasts. I should respond to them. And then every time your messages would just get lost.
Well, that's why we started emailing instead of sending it that way. It was like, okay, we finding that people message back easier with email than it would be just a straight out message to them.
But not everybody's putting their emails out there either. I get it. A lot of people don't want to be contacted. It's like, okay, well, here's my Instagram and here's my my TikTok. That's it. That's what you get.
And so I know I have a formula too. I know my shows work well. I figured out the editing formula. I edit them myself most of the time. And so I want to take advantage of it. I just letting them work out their quirks is really what it is. And me finding work out mine. But over the winter, I'm also been building a true crime podcast. I've been editing and studying. So I take on too many projects at once is the problem. And none of them pay out until they do.
There's a lot of great true crime podcasts out there. So
yeah. So I want to do a storytelling style. So I got one episode posted just to practice. I've got the other two parts of it, and I have some great stories. It's just about practicing. That's why the studio's here, and so just without a camera.
What's the name of your podcast?
True Crime Brief. You guys will even share the other 2 episodes with. So I love it. I have a buddy of mine did a a storytelling podcast on my shooting as a police officer. And I don't know if I told you that, but I was in a shooting as a police officer, and he approached me. He says, I've done all these videos, all these podcasts about Officer Down. It's the Officer Down Memorial Podcast. So he's like, I want to do a Survivor series. So I was proudly chosen for him to do a story about my shooting, me and my partner shooting, and how we survived and how we survived after that. And so I was really fell in love with that storytelling style.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
So,
and then, what are you doing in your, I hate to say free time, but what are you doing to occupy your mind?
What is this free time thing? What is this thing?
Like,
Describe this concept to me.
What's your hobby? I know your hobby's not just going around
Pinball.
hypnotizing people.
Pinball.
Pinball and drinking.
Yeah, well, I gotta pull back on that. But you know what, Mark? I'll raise the glass to that one. In the old days, you gulp it. Now, I just sip it. I like to play guitar, and for my 50th birthday last year, I did a big fundraiser. We raised $31,000 plus $14,000 in sponsorship for a Invisible Wounds Project, which is a PTSD related group, and Law Enforcement Memorial Association, which is a fallen officer group. And I had this plan to sing these songs and do a piano and play guitar, and it was all working out. It was all comedy, and then I got COVID.
Oh man!
So I couldn't sing. I was fine for the party. Up until then, I just couldn't practice. So I can't believe at 50 years old, I was learning how to play a piano, and I was really, really liking it. And I have 3 dogs. I just lost one of them, but I have 2 dogs that I love to death. And one of them is being trained as a service dog. And just trying to, I'll be honest with you guys, I have PTSD. I don't share that with a lot of people. But I also do a lot of speaking on it. So I spend a lot of time just trying to make life better than it was previously. Things happen, you get kicked while you're down. I just brush it off, say a few curse words, and figure out how I'm going to defeat life and move on. So a part of it is I just fill my schedule too much.
I mean, don't get overwhelmed.
I get bored. I get bored if I don't have something. Doesn't mean I do it. I just get bored. I have an idea in my head, and then eventually it works or it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I mean, I started being a hypnotist this way. I was like, let's just go see what it is. So
I'm gonna go try this thing out and see what happens. And then you're super good at it.
That's literally what I did. And I'm glad I did. I had a friend of mine tell me, another DJ goes, you're going to fail at this, right? It's like, why would you say that? And then, so that was my motivation to move forward.
A lot of people tell me I'm going to fail at being a salesman, but I've been doing this for a long time and I'm pretty damn good at it.
That's because you like
pretty damn good at it. I just like to meet. Listen, I'm not a shy person. I mean, I go out with my wife in public and I'll start talking to people. She gets embarrassed. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know who that person is. Okay, what's the problem? I know who that person is. She's like, you see customers in a restaurant and we're eating breakfast and you want to walk over and say hi to them and shake their hand and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do.
How you get more money.
My wife accuses me of that she can't go anywhere that I don't know somebody. We've been out of state. We've been in Hawaii. She's like, Jesus, are you kidding me? I'm like, hey,
people know who you are.
I know people.
And you must get a lot around the neighborhood, kind of, hey, Freddie, you want to come and hypnotize us or anything like that? You get any of that?
I do.
From the neighbors?
I don't do it. I don't do it though. I don't do it. I don't do it on purpose because in order for me to make money this as a career, I can't treat it as a parlor trick. If that makes sense. You have to
separate the two. Yeah.
And to be frank, the insurance company wouldn't if I have a contract, then I'm covered. If I don't have a contract, I'm not covered. Okay. And these days, I just want to make sure I'm covered.
Everybody, you have to in this day and age. You have to. My wife has a food truck, and we have more insurance than a lot of people have like on restaurants. Like, I'm like, dude, we pay so much money. It might as well just be a restaurant. And they're like, yeah, right. You got to pay this fee and this fee and that fee, and then your car insurance has to go up because now you're pulling the trailer.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. And pulling a business trailer on top of it.
Correct. So everything has to. So when people are like, oh yeah, my insurance is like $200 a month, I'm like, trade you. I'll trade.
Well, insurance for hypnosis, it went up, and a lot of hypnotists complain about it. And it's always been that way. Our insurance has been pretty low for a long time. So I pay more as a DJ prior to that. I mean, my homeowner's insurance is more really.
So what kind of insurance company covers hypnosis?
They're specialized ones. They're specialized ones.
Okay,
so we have a few associations that help us out negotiating them, and then we can just choose whichever one we think fits best.
Okay.
Same thing with firewalkers, which I also do firewalking, board breaking, and things like that, but not as a parlor trick. That's part of team building. Team building has its own special insurance. Jugglers, which I don't do, they have their own special insurance. It's crazy. Videographers, it's crazy how they all have to do their underwriting depending on the different variation. Because my son being a videographer, I was like, yeah, we can probably add that to our company. Let me look into it. And it's a whole different set of insurance, which I
Wow.
thought was crazy. Why does a videographer need insurance?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody needs insurance, I guess. But
Yeah.
God, the insurance companies just want to try to get more money out of us.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mark, you have any other questions? I know he was over here telling me to shut up. I'm sorry.
No. I told you to shut up. That was fine. I like doing that. But no, he actually answered my questions.
Did you see, real quick, did you see the
Yeah.
video on my Facebook of the guy putting lipstick on?
Yes, I did.
All right. I just want to make sure you
the older guy. Yes, you kept saying
Yeah.
pretty, and he was like, "I sure am." And you were holding the lipstick with the microphone, or was it the microphone that you were holding? You were holding.
and this is like it was his wife's lipstick. And I just went up to her, and I know them both, and he's so fun. And I was just like, "Hey, can I take your lipstick?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "This is gonna get ruined. I just want you to know right now." And so she got so excited. She's like, "Just go do it. Just go do it." So I just want to, at least when you walk away from this, I wanted to make sure you guys watch that video if you haven't.
Oh, I'm going to.
So that's what I was going to get at. Before we let you go, tell everybody what you want them to watch, where you want them to watch you at. I know I've got you over on TikTok. I've seen your Facebook Reels. And yes, I did see that video, but your website.
All right, so the website's really easy. It's freddiejustice.com, FREDDIE. Why? Because the Y didn't look right. And I was named after my dad, and I found out years later that that's what my grandpa, I named Freddie Justice after that. And I found out years later that's what my grandpa used to call him, IE. So that was perfect. But it's freddiejustice.com. I'm on TikTok. I don't know if was that lipstick video on TikTok? I don't remember if I put it on there.
It might be on TikTok. I know I've seen it either.
It's on my Facebook
Reels.
for sure.
I know.
Yeah, it's on my
Yeah, I'm
Facebook
gonna
for
have
sure.
to go look at that.
And then I got a ton of videos on my YouTube. So that's where I'd put most of them. I sell full shows on my Vimeo, and you'd be surprised at where people buy these from. It's all over the world. It's crazy. I'm humbled. I'm honored. So, but yeah, I'm just all it's Hypnotist Freddie Justice. That's what I always tell people to look for. Hypnotist Freddie Justice, wherever they search.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I found it.
And also on C Boys TV, I did an episode too. So,
What is that?
oh, you don't know because you're not from here.
No.
So C Boys TV, they do a lot of the stuff with a variety of those sports that the 4-wheeled and 2-wheeled sports. They're up in somewhere in Minnesota, like 3 hours north of me. And they called me one day and it's like, "Hey, we want you to come hypnotize us for our show. It's on YouTube." And they didn't warn me as to stop smoking or stop vaping. And it's still a hilarious ad. Listen, it didn't work. He still kept doing it. And the next episode, they ended up putting a big billboard with his number saying, "Hey, call this guy. We want him to stop smoking and vaping." But so I love doing shows like this. And that's part of my plan this year is to do a lot more shows like this. Have fun. Make sure everybody else knows to have fun. Besides, I have a good buddy who's got a bunch of Hot Wheels in his man closet. I don't know anyone who's got such a big horror collection. So, Mark, I'm kind of fanboying your collection here.
Actually, this is only a little bit. I got a bunch more.
You want to show them the newest one you just got? Mark just got a new one.
The Chucky. Nice.
From the TV series.
Nice. Oh, wow. That is awesome. Yeah, I grew up. My mom had me watching horror movies at like 2 years old. So
I had my kids watching it around 5.
Yeah, so I love all that. I don't get scared and all that. So, but anyways, it's been great, guys. I loved it. So sorry that it took us so many challenges to get here.
We finally made it, though. That's the thing.
It worked.
So.
Yeah, Freddie, we really appreciate you. I'm sure that a lot of our viewers are probably going to want to jump in and start watching your videos now. So
I'd love
make sure that they they head over to your YouTube channel as well. Hit the like, subscribe button. That way, when you come out with new content, we'll get the alert.
You know what I think should happen? And now, if your viewers are watching, they're going to pressure you. I think they should just throw a collection together for you guys, fly you to Minnesota on March 15th for a March 15th show. And we're going to hypnotize you both on my stage at the Comedy at the Courtyards.
All right, guys, you heard them. You guys get the money together. We got to go to Minnesota.
You fly them out in March. We'll
I've never been to Minnesota, so.
And I have a professional videographer, so we'll get it all.
Of course he would.
I'm not saying Mark would lose his private parts, but
it could happen.
Whatever. My wife would
all right,
be
I
happy.
appreciate it, guys.
All right,
Yeah,
Freddie.
all right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Have a good one.
Have a good
Cheers,
night.
guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Our very first hypnotist, that was Freddie Justice. If you are not watching him, you are missing out. I promise you, he's got a lot more funny videos, just like the one we showed you here earlier. Head over to his YouTube channel as well. And then don't forget, he also has, Mark, a true crime podcast coming
That's
out
true.
soon. And that
Yeah.
is the True Crime Brief. So follow him on that as well. Mark, what else you got?
We'll be back we will be back on Tuesday.
What are we doing on Tuesday?
We have a mother-daughter duo. Duo.
Perfect.
Linda Cruz and her daughter Harmony. They're from TikTok, Instagram. I believe they have a YouTube channel also. It's going to be
This is
interesting.
it's going to be a really interesting show as well. Hopefully everybody enjoyed.
Hold on, wait a minute before you go any further.
I'm not going.
We also have one on the 30th. Can you tell people who's on the 30th?
Oh man, what's that guy's name?
He's got an outdoor show.
Bill Booth, ladies and gentlemen, will be back with us on the 30th. I've been chatting with him forever, trying to get him on the show. So he's finally agreed to come on the show. If you don't know who that is, check him out, BillBoothOutdoors.com as well. And we're coming up on the finale. We're not going to talk about it just yet, but we will start getting into who our future guest will be.
Yeah, well, we got not a bad show in 3 shows in December.
And if you guys want to see us anytime in between there, head over to our YouTube channel and check us out. Again, that's Talking Shit. That's Talking SHTTT. Go hit the like and subscribe button. From us here at Talking Shit, I'm Brian.
I'm Mark. And
We're
we're
outta
out of here.